Okay, perfect. Hi, Zurin. I'm not even going to mess up your last name, but I was trying to get with you. Zurin Villanueva.
Nueva, there's no
Nueva.
A.
Oh my gosh. See, look at it. I need to go back to Spanish. No, I'm just playing. Nueva. Zurin Villanueva. I
Yeah,
just a little icebreaker to have fun because I know how sometimes interviews can seem like super intense. But before we
totally.
start and talk about you on Broadway and everything you've been up to, I really just want to know who you are as a woman, as an actress, and human being.
Oh, who am I? I'm Zurin. I've been Zurin all my life, and I'm really just like goofy theater nerd, dancer girl. I'm me. That's it. Like I don't know how to answer that question.
No, it's no problem. That's good. I love
Know
that.
me, know me. I don't know. I don't know.
Going into the next one, then, saying that being a theater nerd, when did your love for theater, come through, and how has that journey been for you? Obviously, amazing, but were there like bumps and struggles and different things you've been through?
There's always bumps and struggles. There's bumps and struggles right now. The bumps and struggles don't stop just because you have a job. That's when the fun begins.
Right.
Um, I When did it start? Well, I've been wanting to be an actor since I was 7. So this has literally been the only thing I've ever wanted to do, point blank, period. And so it was actually a blessing because I was able to just focus on that one thing, as opposed to, trying to find it for some time, which was great. Having the blessing of time on my side. And How, well, I didn't, well, like my mother used to bring me to things all the time. So I definitely, that was my exposure to theater, like my mother and my grandmother would take me all day long to every single thing because I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. So we were right there, so that was like my first introduction to it. I didn't start doing musicals till I was 15. I was like a straight actor up until then. But that's what I mean by like a theater nerd, like wearing blacks and like being emo and watching the greatest actors, as a teenager, just like watching their scenes over and over again. Like, that's what I spent my time doing. Um, so yeah, yeah, yeah.
Perfect. What was it? What was it that you saw on stage that drew you there that you say, you know what, that's where I'm going to be one day?
What about the stage?
Yeah.
Oh, its power to transform someone's state, mind, point of view. The power it has to just to really make you think and reevaluate all kinds of things in your life. If people have seen theater and it like made them call a family member they haven't spoken to in 15 years, like that's powerful stuff, or change something that they were doing at work, or that kind of thing. That is the way that I believe theater changes the world, um,
I
by
love
doing
it.
that.
What's one of your favorite monologues to recite, and what's one of your favorite plays that you can just see over and over?
Oh, favorite monologues to recite. Oh, it's such a shame because when you do all these gigs, you don't like, your monologues that you loved when you were in school and you do them all the time. Once again, you don't get to do it as much and you like forget about them. And it's
Yeah.
so sad. It's like your favorite song. And you're like, oh yeah. You know what I mean? But I had so many Sonnet 129, Henry the which was it? It was Queen Margaret, Henry VI. Um, there's this comedic one about the ocean, this lady that's afraid of the ocean that I love, by Lanford Wilson. Oh, and I can recite, and I've seen Rent many, many, many times. I was an usher, one of my first jobs. out of school was an usher, and they were doing Rent at the time.
Yes.
And I had a bad day, I would like go to my boss and be like, can I do Rent, please? I just need Rent and I'll be okay. Like, go ahead. And I'm like, okay, this is all I need. I'll be fine.
Amazing. So
You
is
know,
that your favorite? Is that the play that you could watch over and over? Rent.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah. As long as good people are doing it, yeah.
I love that. Now I'm talking about theater and Broadway and musical. You are playing one of the Tina Turners in the musical. How can you let me know how was it to be offered this part and to like first when you got the size, when you got the opportunity, then auditioning for it, then landing it, and now here. How was that whole process for you?
It was a pretty standard process, except for one part
Nice.
was that, well, actually two parts. The first part was that when I did the first round, I actually put myself on tape around this time last year. And I was in Paris filming Murder Mystery 2 at the time. So I had to do, a filmed audition, but in Paris. And I was like, well, usually I go to Ripley or Pearl in New York, and like you can't go to these studios. I'm like, I have to find a studio in Paris. Like, where am I going? But I found one of these, like, by the hour where like bands go in there and just play and rehearse. And I did in there. It was cold. It's freezing. Paris in March is freezing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then I recorded that. I recorded the rest of the stuff in my hotel room, and sent it on in. So that was like the first round, and then I did a couple of sings reads in April. It was like literally two dance throughs, two sing read throughs, and then I found out a month later. And
Nice.
usually it doesn't take that long. Usually it doesn't take a month. Um, so I was like, oh, I'm not getting this. I didn't really expect to get it in the first place, honestly. Like, it was
Why
like a job
not?
or whatever. Huh?
Why not?
Oh, well, I never thought that I was like the physical type for her.
Mhm.
I'm much, much taller than Tina. I'm not like giving like I'm a little wafy thing, not giving like, oh my God, she's so powerful. But
Yeah.
the voice got it. You know what I
What's
mean? Voice got the power you need. You know what I'm
I,
saying?
I love that. Playing such an iconic person, right? How did you get into the character of it, and what types of pressures are, just those thoughts like I'm playing somebody people see, you know what I mean? It's something it's different when it's like, Dungeons and Dragons is coming out. I'm playing mythical characters that I can kind of make up, but then it's like, no, y'all seen her move, there's those mannerisms, there's the voice, so how'd you get into all of that?
Well, I mean, so in one place, it's like it's a character that nobody knows. You get to build it and use your imagination, and it's more of a free flowing amoeba. Who knows what is going to be? Not even you. But when you actually have a blueprint, you know exactly what needs to happen and exactly how, like, so it's actually in that way, it's actually kind of great because all of the information and resources and YouTube videos that you need,
Are there?
you don't have to look or find some, strange thing. All you got Tina Turner and get to work. So that's great, actually.
That's good.
But I studied with a rock singing coach, and I did lots of squats and planks and getting the core together so we could swing. So the back won't hurt. You know what I'm saying? Gotta make
Nice.
sure.
I love this. How has it been touring nationwide with this? How's the whole experience? I mean, I know you were just in Paris, right? But how is it touring in this? Is this where you feel the most like at home when you're touring in like musical Broadway compared to when you're on set for television film?
um No, I wouldn't say more at home. I would say that there are drawbacks and, challenges with each. I'm definitely more uh, familiar with the touring process as I toured some years ago with Book of Mormon. So I've toured before. And so because I've toured before, I'm very aware of the pitfalls and how to keep one's sanity. Because honestly, that's the name of the game in touring. How do you keep your sanity, your grasp on reality? How do we do that? And so it's a lot of like self-care and mental health things. Like you really have to focus because you're away from your people, your family, the people that who would hold you down if when you're like, doing your show on Broadway, or even if you're a series regular in one town, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's very like challenging in that, being away from your people.
Nice. What's one of your ways to stay grounded and sane, that it's like your ritual when you have to go on tour or you're far away from your people for too long?
Oh, I have so many. And
Top,
they change
top
too.
five.
Like you change. I am not the same person I was the first time I toured. So the
Yeah.
things I was doing then won't kind of work now. So that's the trick. I was like 20 years old. Like we were just boozing, honestly.
Yeah.
We can't be doing all that no more.
Yeah.
So like what do I do? I have dance parties, dancing, whether I'm going out or staying in, like dance parties, playing music, gets me back to center. Calling home, talk to somebody who has nothing to do with work, that helps.
Nice.
You know, yeah, yeah. And food, lots of
Nice.
food.
Oh, that's good.
Lots.
Perfect.
And
Um,
your therapist, go see your therapist.
mhm.
Thank you. Black publication. I want to encourage all my people to unpack the trauma. We don't need it no more. Let it down. Put them bags down. Bag a lady. You don't need it.
um, no, and I love that. That's one thing we definitely stress, especially as a Black publication about mental health. For you, before we get into a couple of your next projects, when it comes to mental health, how important do you prioritize that over like your career and everything? Where you're sometimes like, you know what, I know I want this gig, but right now I think mentally I'm gonna have to have my savings take care of this right now because I know Zurin needs some Zurin time.
Yeah, it's a tricky line. It's a tricky line because sometimes you're not really sure whether it's just you need a day or do you need a month, or you know what I mean. I It's the most important thing, I think, because like if you're taking jobs and your mental is not together, you can end up ruining your reputation.
Yeah.
You will not be able to perform the way you need to, or you perform great and then the social side of it is a wreck. And we're a team sport. We're a big team community sport, so like you have to be on the team. You have to support your teammates, and if not, you're not able to do that, then yeah, it can suffer. And we've all been in that place because you can be fine at the beginning of the gig, and then things get hairy, and it's like, okay, like letting your teammates know, okay, I'm having issue, but it's okay, it's not you, that kind of thing. It's very much that. So it's very, very tricky. But you do your best, but it is definitely number one. It's definitely number one.
No, and I
We
love that you
for a
said,
living, of course. We
no,
feel emotions
definitely.
for a living. It's crazy.
I love that you said that about how at the beginning you may be fine, but then in the middle it just might hit you that you're not, and to communicate. And I think that's so important because sometimes we feel that we should be ashamed that, now I'm like, like we've been talking for what, like 15 minutes. And it's like now if I say I'm having a panic attack, we sometimes we apologize instead of just saying, I should be just telling you because I shouldn't apologize for going through these episodes. You know what I mean? I should kind of just explain and hopeful that the person I'm explaining to is going to receive it and not make me feel even worse than I already do. So
Yeah, and sometimes like I'm really been working on my communication of that and making sure it's landing the way I need it to be landing, like are you understanding what I'm saying? Are you okay? What do you need? You know what I mean? Like it's very hard because as Black women, we always taking care of.
Oh, definitely. And I love this message of, Black mental health, especially for Black women, especially in the entertainment industry where no job is guaranteed. Your next one isn't. So I know it's like such a fine line for you all, right? Because it's like you don't have the luxury to PTO. You can't just call out. You can't just say, "Oh, sorry, Hulu. I'll talk to you guys later." Hulu's gonna say, "Well, let's go get the next Black girl who looks kind of like her." You don't have that.
They,
So
they will.
24 hours, there'll be a whole new person on that show. You'd be like, Zurin, what happened to you?
Well,
And it's the business.
exactly. Yeah. But but living in that, like knowing that that is a fact, and that can happen, you still can't let that dictate your actions. You still have to do what's best for you. And that's when, your beliefs in faith and your beliefs in time and your beliefs in what's for you is for you comes in. Because yeah, of course you're always going to be worried about the younger, prettier, better person at all times. But I mean, they're always there, So like, what are you gonna do? Your job is to do the best you can with what you have, and that and it's just like, oh, there she is, hey girl, you know what I mean? You can't fight it. You can't fight it. Don't fight it.
Oh, man, this has been amazing. I have 10 minutes left. I want to be conscious of our time. Two last things I would like to touch on your projects. Murder Mystery 2. How's that going for it? How was that whole experience? What should we be looking forward to without you giving us any spoilers, even though I think it's coming out this Thursday, I think it's on Netflix.
Next Friday.
Next Friday? Okay, see, look at me.
Next Friday, March 31st.
March 21st. Oh, see. Yeah.
um, one of my friends, I was telling them my role. I'm actually playing opposite Jodie Turner-Smith. I'm playing her assistant. So it's giving beautiful double chocolate
Yeah.
fineness for it. And I was explaining my role to my friend, and they were like, "Oh, so you're like Arsenio Hall to Eddie Murphy in Coming to America?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." So that's it.
That's it. That's all we need. That's all we need. And look out for it next Friday. Next Friday.
It's the classic. It's the classic whodunit. It follows Nick and Audrey Spitz, who played by Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston, and they are a married couple trying to get their detective agency off the ground. They can't find any cases. They don't really have much traction work-wise, and then they go to their friend's wedding, and the groom, their friend, disappears, and obviously all of the guests are the suspects. And here we go.
Nice. I love that.
And who done it? It might be me.
The double chocolate was doing it. The chocolate did it in. Well, and then last, on Clueless the musical as well. How's that going?
Oh, that was wonderful. Like Clueless is literally like one of my favorite movies. Like, so that's another one. I can quote that from top to bottom, from the very beginning, including the soundtrack. So when I booked Dion in Clueless the musical, it was just I couldn't even hold it. I couldn't hold it. Yeah. But that was off Broadway. Did that with Dove Cameron, who played Alicia Silverstone, Cher's part. And I don't know where they are now. I'm told that they are revamping and maybe taking it another direction, maybe making it an original, because the original had 90s music as the sound, as the score, as opposed to original music. I heard they might be going to their original music vein, which would be really great. But yeah, I'm open to all things that are possible,
Nice. I love that. And before we go, I always like to, leave our listeners and viewers and readers with some words of wisdom. what are some of Zurin's affirmations that she tells herself, daily when things get tough, or when she just, or even when things are great and she just wants to affirm more positivity in her life?
Well, two things I've been working with recently is I am deeply, deeply loved. Been saying that over and over again. I want more love in my life. I want to bring more love in my life. So I have to, first thing I need to do is to acknowledge the love that already exists,
Yeah.
to call more to you. You know what I mean? So I've been working with that one. And another one of my favorite things to remind myself of is there is no journey gone so far. You cannot stop and change direction.
Nice.
It is it's actually from Children of Eden, Stephen Schwartz musical, and it happened to be the first musical I ever did it.
Oh, wow. That's
Love
cool.
that quote ever since. I'm like, that's the one.
That's the one. She do it then. Well, well, thank you so much. That's all the time we have for today. I've had a great time speaking with you, and I always hope the other person had a good time too, even though I messed up on the name a little bit in the beginning, but then we
No,
got back on track.
you should try to say my name when I was 6. That was entertainment.
Well, thank
That
you
was good
so.
stuff. So it's all good.
It's all good.